Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. It's your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Reach out to me. It's in the description below, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. And today we are discussing the very first product offered by Greubel Forsey, a union of Robert Greubel and Stephen Forsey. APRP luminaries, these veterans of high horology, came together in 2004 to create a watch like none other, and this is that watch. 43 millimeters in white gold. You are looking at the Double Tourbillon 30 degrees. Now, the timepiece is 43 millimeters in diameter by 15.8 millimeters thick by 51.8 millimeters lug to lug, with a 22 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference. It actually fits better than some of the later and larger Greubel Forsey pieces. I would recommend it for a wrist as small as 15 centimeters in circumference, though I don't think you'd want to get any smaller than that just to keep everything secure and proportional. You can see it is not a thin watch. It won't fit underneath a dress cuff, but it should be okay with a jacket. Now, the timepiece is substantial. You can really feel it. You can also see that the relatively short and stubby lugs aid the fit and ergonomic case of the watch. Overhead, and let's take a quick look at the hardware and the software. Everything on this watch is the best available, and as you can see, Greubel Forsey uses a large rectangular scale, semi-gloss, black alligator leather on the top with a monotone stitch, and you can see sheer cut and thickly bolstered. There is a lot of leather here. You can see the cross sections in profile. You can also see underneath it is a Greubel Forsey factory strap, calfskin on the bottom in very good condition, and there is a relatively spare, by their future standards, matching white gold Greubel Forsey double deployant clasp. Now, quickly popping that closed, you can see there is a Greubel logo, externally satinated and polished. It has both. The case is fascinating. You can see Robert Greubel's unique concave lug design. Now, these are welded on lugs. I mean, this case is very much handcrafted. The oldest way of making a case, creating the lugs separately, welding them together, and then manually removing evidence of the welded joint between the two surfaces. It's made all the more dramatic by the fact that the case flank proper features an undulating frequency motif. It's designed to evoke the mechanism within, of course, the frequency with its amplitude and its wavelength, and of course there's a frosted base underneath the polished waves, so we are talking quite baroque and intricate finish. You'll also note how the lugs themselves are surprisingly detailed with a sort of inward concave inflection and a mirror surface. A simple engraved and lacquered Greubel Forsey crown. The watch is 30 meters water resistant. And then on the dial side, the watch is spectacular. I'm going to do my best now to show you the chief innovation of the timepiece, which is the double tourbillon. There are two tourbillons which are coaxial. The inner tourbillon angles the balance at 30 degrees, and it is a 1-minute tourbillon. The outer tourbillon, which has this quad spoke in fired steel, the outer tourbillon moves in 4-minute circuits. So every 60 seconds, one of these almost serpentine arms begins a 60-second transit across the lower scale on the bottom of the dial just below the cannon pinion. Now you can see that everything is finished to the highest level. Take the tourbillon carriage itself. Its arms are continuously rounded and black polished, as are its screws. The tourbillon structure features twin pillars, and you can see them flanking the center, and the bridge that mounts the upper pivot of the tourbillon, that is continuously rounded, and you can see it is specular finished or black polished. Absolutely no compromise either in the surfacing or in the shape. This could easily have been an angled bridge, which would have been easier to finish. Instead, they went for full rounded. Now, the dial features a number of avant-garde elements. First, there's the open base and the crescent that allows you to see the tourbillon, the double tourbillon. There is a small second, so even though we have a 1-minute tourbillon in here, we do have a separate seconds display. The scale for the seconds display, as well as the scale for the 72-hour power reserve, made of white gold. There's a nickel anthracite coating on the dial proper, and then you can see there's a track outboard that acts as a sort of rayhot, sloping down from the sapphire to the dial base. All the indices, as well as the numerals and the hands, are made of white gold to resist oxidation and tarnish over time. and then there are fired blue screws that mount the dial to the movement beneath. Taking one more quick look, you can see there's an individual numbering plate in red gold that's affixed to the outer tourbillon, making its 4-minute circuit. The tourbillon itself is a 1-minute inboard of a 4-minute. It has an overcoil hairspring, and the watch is tested in 6 positions, and extraordinarily, the delta between those 6 positions is less than 2 seconds. The timepiece also features a free-sprung architecture so that it may take 6-position adjustment and then hold it precisely in the face of bumps and concussions. And of course, the beat rate of the escapement itself is 21,600 vibrations per hour. Let's turn everything over and take a look from the bottom. You can see once again we have a black polished bridge. This is the lower bridge of the greater tourbillon structure. You can see that the jewel fixing the lower pivot is actually held in place by a chaton of gold, and then flanking that, screws hold the chaton in place. This is a nod to the pocket watch era of manufacture in La Chaux-de-Fonds, where Greubel Forsey is located. If you're wondering why 2 tourbillons and why is the inner one canted at a 30-degree angle, the idea is that you create almost a gyration of the tourbillon through multiple positions with respect to gravity. So even if the watch is simply sitting on your dresser at night or on an immobile wrist, no matter what, it's going to be rolling the escapement around through multiple orientations so that gravity itself is able to neutralize the fast and the slow positions, basically reclaiming for a wristwatch what the tourbillon achieved for the pocket watch in the hands of Abraham Louis Breguet when he patented his famous invention in 1801. Now, jumping in close one more time, on the reverse side, you can see that the bridges are what's known as German silver at a lungo un zona, and since we are in La Chaux-de-Fonds and a French-speaking watch region, we're going to call it by its French name, Maillechaux. It is a nickel-copper-zinc alloy, and then it's been gilded with gold to create this vintage pocket watch aesthetic. Now, you can also see that even at the beginning, on this first watch, Greubel Forsey shot for the moon with finish. Not just the use of specular polish, but the use of wire brush frosting across the bridges themselves to give it a pocket watch look. You can see that the base plate itself has a combination of engine turning as well as a circular satination in a concentric pattern. It's a 39 jewel movement. You can see there are several jewels set in chaton, golden chaton, although not all of them are fixed by screws, and that you have a combination of both polished screws and fired blued screws. You can also see, and I'm going to do my best to show this, but the anglage, that is the mirrored beveling on the edge of every bridge, is Baroque, immensely broad, rounded, and finished with gentian wood in the tradition of La Chaux-de-Fonds. These are not machined bevels. 2 mainsprings barrels, as you can see, and they are fast-turning barrels. 1 turn every 3.2 hours. This helps to even out the torque fluctuations of the mainsprings. And again, with a 72-hour power reserve, in spite of the power-hungry double tourbillon, this is a truly long-legged watch. Finally, you'll appreciate the fact that if you look inside the wheels, which have satination across their surfaces, the spokes as well as inner circumference of the wheels have been beveled and chamfered, so absolutely no detail left raw. This is watchmaking at its absolute finest. From a company that only makes 100 watches a year, and they have a little over 100 employees to accomplish that. Why so few watches for so many people? Because of the standard of finish and engineering at Greubel Forsey. It's all about art, science, chronometry, aesthetics, all coming together in one spectacular watch that represents the best available. Reach out to Tim Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.